mostly. I mean, what is your favorite thing to paint for Magic the Gathering? Like a character or some other type of cards?
Well, I really like painting angels because wings are really fun to paint for me. So I've done a lot of angel cards, I think. But besides that, I don't really have a specific preference. It's all fun to paint. Painting is always fun, no matter what you do.
Yeah, and what's your favorite card that you made? Your personal favorite?
Maybe Restoration Angel. I think that was a really fun card. But Commander's Authority is also one that doesn't really get played at all. But I like the painting I did for it. So nobody seems to care about it. And I'm like, look at this. It's a nice painting, and everybody's like, no.
Nice. I'm out of questions actually. I'm really sorry that I'm not so
good
much
job.
into
We're
Magic.
getting paid for this, man. Yeah, I'm over there in the corner, and not really in the corner, but I have like an exhibition of my paintings over there, and I'm selling prints. And if you got any cards, I'm also signing cards. Well, the ones I painted, obviously, not other people's cards. I can't sign other people's art, but my own, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry for interrupting you.
No.
Tell us a story. I don't know. There's something that you think will be interesting for the fans of Magic to know about your work or about the game, or I don't know. That's hard.
Well, I don't know. I used to play in my local store for a while without telling them that I work on the game. And as soon as I told someone, suddenly they all knew, and it kind of changed. And it always, it never really went back to the normal playing, because suddenly you're different, even though you're just a normal player as well, basically. You just kind of... But that's not really a story, and it's not really interesting either, so I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, so I guess you have better questions. We can hear them. Okay. I don't know if... Има ли друг такъв микрофон? Okay, so we'll use this and we'll give him some other microphone. I need a volunteer who will go and give the mic for the other people. It's you. Задаваш си въпроса и след това обикаляш, който си иска да има някакъв въпрос на английски.
Hello.
Just a second. Okay.
So my question is, do you use some kind of reference for the armor or the quotes or anything else that's like for the design? Because some of them are really specific and really nice drawn. Do you
Fuck.
do you use reference from another drawings, or maybe you look what you need in real life, like going into shops and seeing something you need?
I practice a lot from is this thing working? Yeah, it's working right now. I do practice a lot from drawing from reference, but when I do the actual paintings, I like to do it from imagination, because then it just looks more consistent. Because if you draw one thing from imagination and then another thing from reference, it just looks out of place. So I prefer to do everything from imagination and just prepare by studying it beforehand.
What time you need for studying something? For example, you need to draw a female dress, but you're not sure about some details about it. What time do you need to research for it?
Well, for something like this, not really at all, because I've drawn a lot of girls, so... There's a lot of girls in my life, so I don't really need any reference for that. But for example, if it's something I haven't drawn before, like horses or lions, maybe I'll take a couple of days just to study lions and look at them and look how they work and how everything moves and flows. So it's important to understand what you're drawing, not just know how it looks, but to really understand how it works, because then you'll be able to imagine it more realistically.
Thank you.
So now you can go and give the microphone to the other people.
So when Wizards commissions a card for you, do they tell you what?
We cannot.
I can't hear anything.
Yeah, me too.
Can you hear now?
It's the speakers are in the wrong way, so
Okay. I'll just go on the stage.
That's even worse. Yeah, it's not a good idea.
Okay. What about now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. When Wizards commissions a card for you, do they tell you what the card does in the game, in terms of its mechanics or flavor, or do they just tell you, oh, we need angels with wings here?
No, there's no info about the mechanics at all. It's basically all separate, so there's not as much confidential info. The artists, we are told the flavor and the story, and like we get a style guide where the world design is. So it's like a large document where all the designs and like the stories are in, so you know what kind of world you're drawing for. So it all has a consistent look.
Thank you.
Some other questions? Somebody? You have okay. It's your turn. Just use the mic.
So I will ask you, with what program exactly do you draw your pictures?
I'm sorry?
What software are you using?
Oh, it's Photoshop, because it can do the most stuff. Photoshop is really, it can basically do most things that you need. There's programs that are specialized for drawing, but then they are not good for painting. And then there's other programs that are made for painting, but they're not really that good for drawing. So Photoshop can just kind of do everything and everybody uses it. So it's useful for that.
Thanks. And do you draw mythical creatures like dragons?
I'm not really much of a creature guy. I prefer to do like human characters and angels and penguins and baby seals, but not as much dragons.
Women.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Some other questions? Raise your hand. I'm pretty sure there are people who know something really interesting that I don't know. So ask him. This guy is here just for 5 minutes.
Hey again, what's up?
Well, that's a question that usually gets asked a lot, but it's interesting to hear for every artist. So, what are your favorite artists? Where do you draw your inspiration from?
Well, Craig Mullins, obviously. Everybody knows Craig Mullins. And for the older artists, maybe I really like Sargent's work. I don't know, I haven't really looked at a lot of artists recently. I usually just look at real life mostly these days, because it's more real, I guess. That's why it's called real life. But for like inspiration, a lot of the Disney artists are also really nice, and then there's lots of anime stuff and lots of people on the internet where you don't even know the names, but you go like, oh wow, that's awesome. And then you think like, oh man, I want to draw like that, and then draw something else for a while. So it changes all the time. Oh, Linda Bergquist too, she's amazing.
Hi.
Hi again.
Have you graduated from art school or something, or you're just a self-learner?
I'm just self-taught. I did go to an art school for 3 months, and then I dropped out. The people there are just insane. They're just like these artist types.
Yeah.
That go like, that's art, and I'm like, so it wasn't the right thing for me.
Thank you.
That's one of your paintings, right?
I think so. Yes.
I want this one.
I
It's
think I
awesome.
did that. Yes.
And that's a creature.
It is a creature. Oh yeah. So I was wrong.
Yeah. Can you tell me more about? Is this a card or something else?
Yeah, that's a magic card. As you can see, there's a pre-drilled rings on it.
Yeah.
No, and this is for the Return to Ravnica set. And it was actually really fun to work on because of all the. I really enjoyed painting the buildings poking through the clouds. That was a lot of fun, and like the scale of it in the sun. I really enjoyed painting sunlight, so this was a lot of fun for me with all this light shining everywhere and kind of glowing through the rings. I don't know, you kind of get nerdy when you do paintings, right? Because there's these tiny things that you start to enjoy more and more. Like for example, for me it's painting light basically. And then you just get so into it and you try to explain it to somebody and they're like, what are you talking about? Because nobody really understands it after a while. But for you it's like the special thing that becomes more and more interesting the deeper you get. So the more you paint, the nerdier you get. So you should probably draw a line somewhere and do something in real life, otherwise you just get crazy.
Yeah. This thing, I really like it, and I definitely would put something like this on my wall.
Well, I have it over there.
And here's the question that's raising in my head. Don't you feel kind of, I don't know, like there are some boundaries because the cards are like this big and your paintings should be small?
Well, no. Yeah, of course you have to. You can't really put much detail in it because you won't see it. But at the same time, it's also a really good challenge because you have to make it so that it is easily readable at a small size. So you have to paint it in a way that that you instantly recognize what's being shown. It's actually quite interesting because you learn a lot from it.
Yeah, that's really nice. Do we have some other questions? I guess. Yeah, nice. There's one in the back. Yeah, go for it. Yep.
How many years did it take you to improve to such level?
I think it was like 4 years. I did spend a lot of time inside. It was like 12 hours a day of practice, and it's pretty rough because you lose all your hobbies and friends for a couple of years because it takes a lot of time to learn this stuff, and you have to put in the time if you want to get to the level where you can make a living. So I did pretty much the crazy thing of not talking to anybody for 3 years and just drawing. And I wouldn't want to do it again because it's nice to have friends and hobbies, right? So you wouldn't really want to sacrifice all of that. But I guess it was worth it because now I can do this for a job and still have hobbies. So yeah, try it, it's awesome.
I want to say that I recently found the drawings in DeviantArt and I think you're very inspiring.
Thank you.
Some other questions, I guess.
We all see that you're good with digital art, but what can you say about traditional art? Do you do it?
Yeah, well, I do it when I have the time. It just takes a lot longer than digital art because you have to prepare canvases and clean brushes and mix colors. It's just a really slow process. So you can't really do it for work because it's hard to change and it takes a lot of time. For work, it's important to just deliver on time and be flexible. But in my free time, I do like to do some traditional drawing and sometimes painting. But these days, I don't really have a lot of time for it because I prefer to just do sports when I'm not working. It's, you know, when you work for a living and it's always painting, then in your free time you really don't want to paint much more, except if you're already like inspired sometimes. But you need balance in your life, that's what I'm saying.
Do you find any differences in digital art and traditional art? Is there something similar and what are the differences?
Well, traditional art, for example, is traditional. That's a difference to digital art, which is digital. No, I mean you have like, the colors mix differently, they glow more in the light. Digital is it's kind of all the colors can react the same, right? They mix the same. Traditional colors mix quite differently. For example, if in digital you can't really mix yellow and blue, it just kind of gets like gray. But with traditional colors it turns to green, which is amazing. And there's lots of differences there, and then the feel of it, the smell of it, it's much more intense. But at the same time, it has a lot of drawbacks too, because you know it's much more difficult to get the right stroke at the right angle and everything, and not have to redo it, which in digital art you can do. So I guess digital is a lot of you know, more help, easier, which is why you do it for work. Because if the client is paying for it, you can't really do any experiments because it's his money, right? But for traditional, the experimental part is what makes it interesting, because you would never really know what will turn out if you just mix some colors. It's always unpredictable. So it's more like a hobby thing for most people who work in the field, I guess. There's a few people who still do traditional art for magic cards, but it's rare. Unfortunately.
You answered my next question, actually. I was going to ask you if you paint some cards with traditional art, but do you feel like there are things you cannot do with Photoshop, the software, and you would be able to do with traditional art that you wanted to be able to?
Yeah, you have much nicer texture and brush strokes in traditional art because it's all real. It looks nicer. The way the pigments change and the colors kind of mold into each other. Digital can't do that, and it won't be able to do it. Even though they try making it look like traditional art, it doesn't look like traditional art. It just looks like digital trying to be traditional. But it's fun to experiment as well. Like the middle ground there, everything is kind of interesting and everything has its place. So just playing around with it is pretty cool too.
Do you have some other questions from somebody? There is one. Can you give the mic to that girl over there too?
Question.
Ask your question.
Did you have moments when you wanted to just give up? And what were the thoughts that made you go on?
Well, yeah, kinda. Usually, it's with everything in life. You kinda sometimes feel like, I don't want to do this. But just thinking about, you know, what happens when you do this and what happens when you do this. Obviously, going on is always the better choice if you know it's something that takes you somewhere where you want to go. So it's like with rock climbing. Did you see the rock climbing wall outside? If you're like halfway up, you can obviously go down if you don't want to go any further, but then you're not going to go to the top, right? So you want to go to the top, so you just keep going. It doesn't really matter what your feelings are. Feelings are good, but like when you're learning a skill, it's sometimes important to just, you know, like keep at it. And it just takes time.
Next question.
Hi. I got that you like to draw humans. Do you have any favorite part from the human body you prefer to draw?
No, not really. It's all like hands are really interesting. I like hands, but I'm not good at them. Nobody's really good at drawing hands because they're really difficult. Besides that, I don't know. Noses, I guess. Yes. Weird question. Next. The neck is a nice part. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a weird go. Weird question. Do we have some final questions from the audience? Because if we don't, I think that will be it.
Yeah, I'm over there signing stuff, selling prints. Come over and say hi.
Johannes will be here tomorrow too.
Yeah.
So you can meet him, and if you have some question you couldn't ask right now, you can ask him in person and have an autograph on your cards or whatever, and buy stuff because they look awesome. I really like them, and maybe I'll start playing Magic because of this panel. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.